Hey everybody, welcome to my review of the Lexmoto Aura 125cc scooter. See, I've had this on loan for a little while from Lexmoto to do a few videos on, do a review on, stuff like that, and it's been amazing fun. If you've seen any of the previous videos, you'll see I've taken it for a top speed run. I've gone playing in the countryside and taken it slightly longer distance. I've really used this machine as my daily for the past few weeks. Okay, so first things first, as I said, it's a Lexmoto Aura 125cc. It's got about 10.3 horsepower. This thing costs £2,000. It can be ridden on a CBT. Its top speed is about 60 miles an hour. It looks like this. And what more do you need to know? Alright, fine, we'll get into a bit more of it as we get riding, because there is a few pros and cons. Okay, this part of the video has actually been filmed after the original video was first released, and I made a big mistake to do with the keyless ignition system on this. So I've gone back, taken that video down, re-recorded this and corrected it, because I'd rather put correct information out there to people rather than incorrect, even if it's annoying as hell for me, especially as I was using this wrong the entire time. Okay, so the problem I had before, if you saw the video, was basically I was unlocking the bike. This is the keyless ignition button. Has 3 buttons on it. The top one makes the indicators flash so you can find your bike in a busy place. Yeah, I guess that's a problem somewhere. Okay, so currently the key itself is switched off, which means I can't twist this and put it into the seat mode or anything. If you press the middle one, it will unlock it for a moment and allow you to put it on. But then when you go back into seat mode, it won't allow you to go back into another mode. And then you click down into the steering lock mode, but you can't actually put the steering lock on until you press that button again. See, this is what I was having a problem with in the way I was using the bike the whole time, because I didn't realise this does actually have a proximity sensor in it. If we press the bottom button, it's now on. You can switch it off. You can put it on the lock, push it, and then you take it off the lock, back into seat, back to on, as you would expect. Now, we're going to walk away with this. I don't know what the range is. It's probably less than a couple of cars' length, so let's chuck it on there and see if that's enough. Okay, yep, so we are locked now. Can't do anything. Get back the key. And now it works again because the proximity is working. And you turn that off by pressing it again. There's no button on here to let you know that this is on, in its on mode. I don't know if it has an automatic timer cut off, like, you know, after an hour or something it stops transmitting. Because otherwise I guess you could kill your battery in this pretty quickly. I don't know, honestly. But yes, I previously made a mistake, and the whole time I've had this, I've been getting very annoyed with this, and all I had to do was remember to press the proximity button, and it'll be fine. So now you know that, let's continue with the explanation of the ignition. So as I say, you have on, seat and fuel, and then you have the steering lock, where you basically just bring it around and put it down into that. There we go, so steering lock. Then for fuel and seat, you put it in fuel and seat, and then you've got 2 buttons here. Fuel does this one, and there is your filler cap in there. And seat is the same deal, you just press this, and that opens. It's quite a solid press, I will say that. You feel like you're pressing it like that and you think it's electronic. It feels more mechanical behind the electronic lock, as it were, so you have to kind of press and press harder. Be careful though, because I have found that the side stand on this, the force it takes to push that button can actually get close to pushing the bike off its side stand. It does have a centre stand as well as a side stand, which is helpful, so there's not such a problem when it's on the centre stand. But yeah, seat lifts up as so. Your toolkit is under here. It's a reasonable space in there. You know, you can get a good day's worth of shopping, maybe a few days shopping. Another correction from my first version of this video was referring to something I thought could be a security risk, but I actually don't think that is the case now. This has all come about because a commenter very kindly informed me of this, and I'm like, hang on, what? Because I don't get a manual and I don't get any information or anything like that with these, and yeah, so thank you to that person pointing this out. I hope you appreciate that I went back and corrected it all. Anyway, point being, the battery for this bike, given that it has no backup key, is underneath this tray, I believe. And obviously if this is locked and your battery is dead, there is no way of you doing this to get this to let you go in here. There is a way of attaching power relatively easily to the bike to allow you to start using the key. I thought it was going to directly power the solenoid on the seat switch, but I think what it actually does just powers up the full electrics of the bike, and it allows you to use your fob. So it's not really a security risk because you still need that fob. One other thing I forgot to mention in the first version of this was that it has a USB charger in here. and a little cubby hole. But yeah, it's a thing. So let's go back to the old video because everything else I still agree with. Oh, one other thing actually before we get going is this thing, which is like a rider's butt rest. For me, being 6'4", I want to sit where this thing is. I'd like my butt to be in that butt rest, not on this butt rest. It's not the end of the world, but it means I have to sit slightly further forward, and I can't remove that because although there is 3 bolts, it isn't a part that's designed to be removable while you're riding. So in the standard riding position, I'm quite close on my knees, but not touching. But using the forward sort of position is just silly because I can't actually turn the bars. So you've got foot positions because I'm sat here. If I was sat where I wanted to be sat here, which is on top of that thing, it'd be absolutely fine, but unfortunately not. So if you're 6'4", might be an issue for you. As you can see, it can take some bumps. God. But the suspension is incredibly firm. So other than the bone-shaking ride, which, you know, isn't the end of the world, but you have to watch out for potholes, that's pretty much where my complaints and criticisms end. Because beyond that, it does the job great. Obviously, one of the most important things on a scooter is how does it like get up to 30 miles an hour? And this is full throttle. It's 30. As I say, I've done videos on this out in the country roads. I've done some top speed runs on it. The fastest I ever got out of it was 61. It will do sort of 55 quite happily, quite easily, but the getting up to 60 is a little bit of a, you know, you have to claw away at that speed bit by bit, but it will do it. Its comfortable cruising speed is about 50-55 miles an hour, so, you know, it's not the fastest in the world. This has only got 10.3 horsepower. And it is a scooter after all. If you want speed, if you want performance, well then maybe go for a bike rather than a scooter. I mean, they can be very nippy and quick, but if that's important to you, then I wouldn't be buying a scooter, I'd be buying a bike. But that would be missing the entire point of a scooter. It's not about necessarily going fast. For me, it's about convenience, it's about ease. It takes no skill to ride this bike. You know, we've got link brakes, so both the brake levers work both the brakes. They're not even. The front one is a bit more biased to the front and the rear one's more biased to the rear, to the point you can actually lock up the rear tyre if you really, really try. Why are we doing 18 miles an hour? And this is a prime example of why scooters in today's world are actually really good, especially if you live in and around town. I don't live in a busy city, but right now I'm struggling to do 20 miles an hour, and when I was trying to do the speed test, you know, the top speed test on this bike, it took me 7 runs of the A road to be able to get that speed. Not because the bike wouldn't get up to the speed, but because everyone was going so slowly because of how much traffic was there. And this is one of my things I talk about, you know, some people might want a scooter to get to college, to get them about, to get to work, to get to whatever. And they're very good at that. As A to B things, if you're not really interested in motorcycling per se, but you want cheap transport to work and stuff like that, then a scooter is a fantastically cheap, low skill thing to get. But from my perspective, as someone who has larger CC bikes, I love having a scooter on hand because when I just want to get around the local area, I don't want to get my 600 out, I don't want to warm it up, I don't want to have to, you know, ride that thing around in first, second gear, constantly on and off the clutch. I'd rather jump on this. It's nice and easy, bish bash bosh, jump on it, go to the shops, shove your shopping under the seat, and get going. It's actually quicker in ways because you're not faffing around so long, warming the bike up and, you know, being more careful in places. I'm not saying about not being careful, but if you ride a bigger bike, you'll know what I mean. And of course, adding to that, if you do have a larger CC bike, as you won't be using so much fuel just getting around town, you won't be putting wear and tear on your larger machine, you won't be risking your tyres or punches on your larger machine, you won't be putting at risk of being stolen if you're leaving it out around town. I honestly believe there is so many benefits to owning a large CC motorcycle for fun, for, you know, for motorcycling, long distance stuff, and then one of these little machines for getting you around. You know, I love bigger bikes, I really do, but for round town stuff, I would find it very difficult to put an argument together to explain why this isn't the best thing to have over that bike. Sure, having one bike and things like that, fine, but for getting around town? And of course, I'm just talking about scooters in general really here. I'm not talking about the Aura specifically, but that's the thing. There isn't a lot to say about it because it just does what it's supposed to do. It is a 125cc scooter, it looks like this, it goes fast enough, it doesn't use much fuel. I wanted to do some MPG testing, but I've only managed to get through 1 tank of fuel in the time I've had this, because although I've been, up into the country roads and I've been backwards and forwards and buzzed up and down dual carriageways and trying to do top speed runs and been riding the absolute pants off of it, which should be ruining the fuel economy, I still haven't got through a single tank of fuel. I've got 2 bars still. The other thing is I can't actually remember what mileage I was at when I filled this up for the one and only time. I didn't pay that much attention because I didn't think I would only be doing it once. I think it was about 340, 300, yeah, I think it was around 340 miles on it. It's now got 460 and we're on the 2nd bar for fuel. I probably won't need to put any more fuel in this before it goes back. Okay, so 27 to 40. There you go, easy enough. And yeah, it does have firm suspension, but because of that, it's got lovely handling. It feels like it's on rails, although obviously a bump is going to do this to you. You might not have noticed because of the stabilisation, but yeah, I definitely noticed those bumps. Oh, headlights. The low beam, high beam on this is an LED light, and it's great. Here's a little bit of footage from when I went and did a little night ride. And you see this road has no street lighting whatsoever, and I could see everything I needed to see. It's better than my stock DRZ 400SM headlight for sure. There is a little bit of a delay between twisting the throttle and when the engine actually comes on. I mean, you can see it sort of goes, which is the way that most scooters work. It would be more fun if that could be more instantaneous. I don't know if that's what I've experienced on the scooters that I've ridden, but I haven't ridden any of the big brand scooters, not for a long time anyway. Because you're not changing gear and stuff, even though I'm used to riding bigger bikes, you start playing with lead angles and just throwing it into corners and seeing what sticks. It's properly good fun. Before this bike goes back, I'm hoping to test it 2 up, because it does have, the handles and stuff for a pillion, and I will take my other half out at the back. I suspect it'll be fine for around town stuff. She is very light after all, but at the same time, what do you expect from a 125cc scooter 2 up? It's a lot of weight for it to carry. The Aura does struggle a little bit with hills, I will say that. When I was going up some pretty steep hills, 40 mile an hour was about as fast as it was going to go up them, and there was a little bit of slowing down towards the top. So that's definitely a thing. But then, as I say, it's only got 10.3 horsepower. What do you expect it to do? Pull half a ton up a hill? Which is not behind me. I'll do a little brake test here. As you can see, brakes work lovely. Slow control. Super easy. This is one-handed. This is a very simple review because it is just a 125cc scooter. There's nothing to make it stand out necessarily amongst all the other ones, apart from the fact that it's pretty cheap. It's also, I will say this, it's not cheaply made feeling. Like this isn't plasticky plastics. This is actually tough stuff all over. If I have forgotten anything, or there's any questions that you have that haven't been answered, please comment below. I'll do my best to reply to those. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. It helps in today's YouTube algorithm driven world. And I'm on a relatively small channel. I'm about to get up to 100,000 subscribers, which has taken me 10 years. If you'd like to help me on my way with that one, please hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to help support this channel, then consider joining my Patreon for multiple benefits you can see on your screen here, and it helps keep this channel going. Well, there we go. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Lexmoto for lending me this one. I have another Lexmoto coming soon. It will be a 125cc bike, and that's all I'm going to say for now. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.